Oh, welcome back again, Pahrump. This is our third session of the night, and I'm still sitting here with Cles Saunders to my left, and to his left, Andy Alberti. We are talking about an issue that I think needs to be discussed and heard throughout the town, and that is moving the county seat from Tonopah to Pahrump. And I only intended to having them for the first session, but since they're hitting on a lot of good information and there's a lot of information to be put out, I invited him back for the third session. In addition, Noah, the gentleman who is running all the controls and behind the camera, will be putting on screen an email, or not an email, an email address. Website that you will be able to go to.
I'm sorry, you got to take the Andy off.
Well, actually, it's cpahrump.com. It's not Andy at, and that's our mistake, not Noah's. He's doing a phenomenal job back there. Whoa, how you like that? You say something to Andy, or say something to Noah, and he does it immediately.
But you can email me anyway.
Yeah, you can email him, or you can go on this and read your the PowerPoint about the moving and why it should be moved. But we're going to continue on. There's a few other issues that we're hitting on right before the last break, and I'm going to throw it back to Cles and Annie to clarify and to continue talking about why we should do this, the cost savings, how it's going to be done. Gentlemen?
Well, one of the other reasons that I looked at this and had concern is that I came across a town board minutes from Tonopah, and there was a guy that says that, okay, is there talks about merging with Esmeralda County, okay? Now, looking at this, okay, and remember that Tonopah started out with about 10,000 people, and it's steady going down. Now, I'm looking at Tonopah possibly disappearing, you know, and becoming a ghost town as soon as the gold and the silver run out, and because that's what's holding them up. So that was the concern, and that was one of the reasons, you know, that I was looking at this. Now, if that do happen, what happens to our records? Okay, that's one of the big concerns that people have, our records. So if that merger happens, what would happen to our records? Nobody seems to know.
So the county, one of their main concerns is it would cost too much to move records. Now, if I remember correctly, and I know I am, they spent $250,000 to move several pieces of equipment from the old nuclear facility that Darrell Lacey was running to the museum. So are you telling me that it's going to cost anything more than getting a U-Haul, having some employees who normally are working up there load this U-Haul up and bring it down here? And by the way, why are those records not been scanned and put on disk?
Right.
Like the rest of the free world?
Because I think it's a smoke screen.
Well, actually, there's a little bit of an issue there because they can't destroy records without archiving them first.
Right, scanning them.
Yes, and they have not scanned any that I can identify. I think all the records are still written, but
it's amazing.
On your comment about moving the county seat down here, when we went up to look at the courthouse where all the county offices are located, it was like a ghost town in there. You could see 5 desks in a room, but there was only one person in there. Mm-hmm. And as an example, the treasurer's office in Tonopah has 2 people, and they have 2 people down here. Now, our suggestion was...
That's a duplication of services, if I believe. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, actually, the people in Tonopah are doing a lot of the work that could just as well be done down here, because this is where all the work really is.
Exactly.
But our point was the treasurer's office and the recorder and the assessor are all working a 4-day week, 10-hour day. Now, the treasurer only has 2 people down here, himself and 1 employee. The commissioners won't give him another one, but if we were to move the county seat down here, he would have 4 employees, including himself, and he could be open 5 days a week. And we know that some people have gone to the offices here on a Friday only to discover there's nobody there.
Well, you know, I would never fault anybody for 410s, because if I could work a 410 schedule, I'd do it in a heartbeat. So I won't fault anybody for that, but bringing the people down here where the bulk of the responsibility and the bulk of the work is, let's see, how would I put this politically correct? Oh, makes sense.
Well, the reason I bring it up is the purpose of government, in our opinion, is to serve the people. And if the people are here, why are we having people in Tonopah doing work when they need to be here to service the population? And the population expects government to be there 5 days a week.
Well, let's look and see what's happening now. Of the county employees, okay, at the last count that we had, I got 398 employees. Okay, now 271 of them are in Pahrump.
Okay.
97 is in Tonopah, and 30 of them is in the outlying, towns and cities.
97 employees are in a community of 3,000?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Well, we have to explain. There are
Duplicate.
the majority of the employees, over 50%, are Public Works and the Sheriff's Department.
It doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't.
It's no wonder the county has had problems with their budget, and I don't want to get off topic.
Right.
For the last 7 years, actually, before I was a town manager, they were having issues. You know that they have yet, and I'll get off my soapbox here real quickly. They have not put in a budget on time in at least 9 years. They have had to ask Department of Taxation for an extension every year. I know that for a fact because I was a town manager, and Mr. Sullivan, the finance director, and I used to talk about that. He showed me documentation before I got there. They did it now. And they're getting worse every year. It's absolutely amazing, and I don't understand why, because they hired a young lady who has just tons and tons and tons of experience as a comptroller in financial work, and has I've heard master's degrees, PhDs in education, and I don't understand why Miss Fanning is not correcting all these little mistakes that she was hired to do. I don't get it. I'm being sarcastic there, Pahrump.
My understanding is that the job of the comptroller, which is her job, one of those functions is to act as an auditor for the county, just as an outside auditor would act.
Well, they have Dan MacArthur. I believe they still use Mr. MacArthur. At least 2 years ago they did. And MacArthur is a heck of an auditor. Does a great job. He did our books for the town of Pahrump. Very friendly, great staff. But even when we asked him, he just, shook his head and said, "Hey, this is the way the county likes to do things, and that's the way they do things." But my thing is, you hire people to do a job, they should be doing the job. But let's get back on moving the county seat, because I don't want to take this too far off. Let me ramble later on.
It is your show.
So
well, I voiced my concerns, and I still believe, that Pahrump will make a real viable and good county seat.
Right. We've got less than 5 minutes. I'd like to give you gentlemen at least a minute to explain your top 3 reasons as to why the county seat should be moved from Tonopah to Pahrump. And I'll start with Mr. Alberti and then work my way this way. So, Mr. Alberti, please, you've got 1 minute.
Well, first off, better service to the majority of the community, which is down here. Second, the commissioners would not have to travel back and forth to Tonopah, which, if you figure it out, 24 trips a year, and all the staff that may follow them is a savings. And I do think we'd be much more efficient, and there could be some real tax savings here. I also want to make mention that Cles did a video of all of the areas in Pahrump that would be attractive to people and companies that would like to move here. An excellent presentation. It's on YouTube?
Yes, YouTube.
I'll leave that to you.
Okay.
Oh, well, that was a quick, quick minute.
Okay. Well, anyway, what I'm looking at as far as moving the county seat here is the population. I look at the population, and it's not just numbers. It's diversity. It's the variety, and it's the input. You have input that can go to to our commissioners, to our lawmakers, and stuff like that. We have the people that can give different opinions, different reasons for doing this, you know. And if you take that whole group, you can make this here county a lot better and a lot viable.
Well, gentlemen, you know, I'm going to just take a few minutes myself to sum this up. My reasons, and I've stated this from day one when I first got here in June of 2008 as a town manager in Pahrump, it doesn't make sense for county commissioners to have to drive up to Tonopah once a month to spend time up there to do a county commission. Some of them spend the night. They have expenses as food, gas, wear and tear on vehicles, salaries of employees. It only makes sense to move the county seat to Pahrump and not have to do that. It's going to be at least what I've heard, a $38,000 to $50,000 a year savings. Now, if the county commission can prove me wrong, I would invite any one of them to come out on my show and bring the facts. Bring it, Dan, Butch. I mean, if you can speak without Joni puppeteering you, come on down. I will let you sit here. I'll give you 13 minutes of interaction between myself and you. Come on down. I know you guys are both very good at speaking. You're both very intelligent individuals, so please come on down. The cost saving is what I look at, and again, population base. It only makes sense. 86% of the population lives here, works here. Bring it where it will make the biggest impact overall, not only to the budget, but to the inner workings of local government. In addition, I really like what you brought up, the point earlier in, I believe, session 1 about closing down an outdated, not often used jail facility in Tonopah, which would appear to save $400,000. Wow, and in 24 deputies up in and around Tonopah, and I can't imagine that number's correct, but just bringing half of them would solve the issue that Tony DeMayo and Rick Marshall, and I'm sure the current sheriff, has complained about over and over to the county commission. We need more deputies on the street in Tonopah. We have 38,000 people live here. We have 1,500 to 2,500 visitors every day. We need better law enforcement.
Bill, could I throw one thing in?
You got less than 30 seconds. Shoot,
I just
sir.
wanted to say, anyone who would like to have us come to their organization and put a presentation on that we gave to the county commissioners and then discuss the issues directly with your organization, either contact Cles or myself, and we'll be happy to come down.
And that pretty much ends session number 3. Thank you, Pahrump.
Thank you.